Hejka, to Alex Blackrose i witam was wszystkich bardzo serdecznie w kolejnej serii, kolejnym odcineczku, a tym razem będziemy sobie grywać It Gets So Lonely Here. Wiem, że jest to visual novelka, wiem, że to jest coś w rodzaju horroru, ale dokładnie więcej o tym nie wiem. Stwierdziłam, że w sumie warto byłoby spróbować. Z tego co wiem, trwa około godzinę, półtorej godziny. Zobaczymy. Będę czytała po angielsku, nie będę tłumaczyła na bieżąco, więc tutaj proszę się uzbroić w cierpliwość, że tutaj niestety, ale nie ma języka polskiego, więc będziemy sobie radzić z angielskim. I co? No i wydaje mi się, że może wyrobimy się w 2 odcinki. Nie wiem, czy przez przypadek nie widziałam tego u Manly Palace Hero, ale nie wiem. Zobaczymy. Extras. Locked return. You're running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. There's nothing to light your way, save for moon's milky glow. But its ray cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you are going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be of little use. You do not know where you are going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You are running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. Have no desire, as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you have been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked grasp. You are free. At what cost? Your skirt has been irrevocably damaged. It may be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon she will catch you. Na początku myślałam w sumie, że będzie nas jakiś facet gonił, ale nie. Goni nas ona. Then your life will be over. You do not know if she's still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you would lose what little nerve you possess. Your legs would lock up, and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you. Did she not promise, when you made the contract, that you would never be alone? You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. Czyli, kimś, z kobietą zawarliśmy kontrakt i teraz ona czyżby jak ona nas złapie, to stać jakby to logicznie spróbować ułożyć. Co jeśli ona jest jakimś duchem lasu i jak nas złapie, to staniemy się częścią lasu? You run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It is cold enough to sap the heat from your body and you shudder from it. It feels as though you are drowning. You feel as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You cannot endure much more of this, but if you value your own life, you must. You run, and you run, and you run until, at long last, you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths, which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though, not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Black though it might be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted through it is. Your fate, if you will forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Wybór? Now I wonder, which path will you take? Chodźmy do wioski. So, you want to go to the village? Good idea. Let us see what further trials await you there. This night is far from over, as much as you might wish it was, and there is still much and more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. You follow the path which leads to the village, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs, which feel ready, at a moment's notice, to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continue to run, that you will find a suitable residence in which to rest at the village. You do not know what will await you at the village, but you have visions as you run of a quaint, scenic settlement, all thatched cottages with sloping roofs. Surely there will be a kindly peasant who will be willing to put up a young runaway for a few nights. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly peasant from the fairy tales you read in abundance as a smart child. Czy my jesteśmy jakoś lepiej urodzeni? Bo ona mówi peasant. Tak jakby... albo suitable cottage. Tak jakby ona w luksusach żyła. Zobaczymy sobie. Zobaczymy. She will be broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced, with dull brown hair cramped beneath her cap. Her arms will be sturdy from many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she will be kind to you and compassionate, just like a mother. You do not know what mothers are like. You hardly ever spoke to yours. You are only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Peasants do not, as you know from your voracious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It might be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. So you run to the village. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you manage it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time has begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl and orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village, nestled among the hills like a diorama. Hope anew bubbles within you. You have finally made it. Surely not. But your salvation awaits you. You follow the winding dirt path to the village, looking the way and this way and that, but you hope such a precious, fragile thing soon begins to fade. The village up close does not look half as welcoming as you imagined. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of disrepair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are keeping open. The kitchens beyond them even darker than the night sky which shrouds you. There are no lights on in any of the windows, and neither can you see any people. Insomniacs like you are there. You cannot hear anything either beyond the sound of your own footsteps and the low, mournful sighing of the wind. The village is quiet, eerily so. It is immediately obvious, even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. You know before you try your luck at one of the houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kind red-armed washerwomen to welcome you here, no matter how much you wish for it. But that does not stop you from wishing regardless. Your knuckles rub smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts soon prove, however, to be in vain. There is nobody here to hear your entreaties. How very sad. You try another door, then another, but the result is the same regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There is nobody there. Once again you have found yourself all alone. At least you have found some dwellings in which you can rest your weary head. Will you utilize one of these cottages for your purposes? Nobody's here, you might as well. But no, an abandoned cottage is not what you're looking for. You would far rather have a companionship, would you not? Bravely you swallow your tears, you wipe your eyes with the back of your hand in a well-practiced motion, then inhale. You square your shoulders, and you keep on going. Surely the village cannot be completely deserted. There must be one person here, at the very least, who can help you. This is what you are thinking as you resume your search. You flit from cottage to cottage with precious little to show for your determination until you make yet another discovery. This village, with its squat thatched cottage bathed in the moon's below, has a church. Well, of course it has a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens. Not that their faith did them all that much good in the end. Still, the sign of the church soothes you of a taxed heart. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washwoman taking you in, you did not pause to entertain the fancy of a kindly nun doing much the same. All hope is not lost. You approach the church, which seems to tower over you despite it being so humble. The church is a small one, but it is stout and sturdy. It must be, for it has withstood centuries, forever standing a sentinel on this hill like a relic from a bygone era. The church does not have any stained glass windows, but it does not need them. Even without more luxurious trappings, the church still exudes an aura of dignified
solemnity.
Boże kochany, ja wiem, doskonale wiem, że im dalej w las, tym będzie gorzej mi czytać. Więc podejrzewam, jako że będę nagrywała dzisiaj więcej odcinków, że bardzo szybko nie będziecie nic rozumieli, co gadam. Więc polecam w sumie sobie co jakiś czas lukać, czy to, co gadam, jest w jakikolwiek sposób związane z tym, co jest napisane. The stone building is fringed by a sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop and some of its sloping sides. The graves, which have been planted by generations of wardens, are hewn from a similar stone to that which the church walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like lozenges, others are shaped like crosses. A handful of headstones are even shaped like angels, though these are few and far between. There are very few people in a village such as this one who can afford such luxurious final resting places. Odnoszę wrażenie, że to jest w sumie tak trochę nie w naszych czasach. Ale zobaczymy. Bo z artów... Zobaczcie. Z artów na stronie wyglądało całkiem. No nie da. You look at the tombstones with an almost childlike curiosity, forgetting in your examination of the visceral, heart-rending fear which gripped you as you ran through the forest. You are out of the woods now, and you have subconsciously already begun to relax. You try to read the names hewn into the myriad tombstones, but it is dark and you are tired, and some of these graves are very, very old indeed. You strain your ear. Nie rozmawiajmy o tym. You strain your eyes, but you do not have much luck in this endeavor. Oh well, such superfluous details are not important. You eventually tire of examining the graves and turn. This graveyard is an expensive one, unusually so, given the village itself is so small. How can it boast so many corpses, and there is much to explore? You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here, then there, then everywhere, consumed as you are by your immense all-encompassing curiosity, and as you do, you see her. She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny just like yourself, but she is much, much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. For some moments you observe her, hiding all the while in the shadow cast by the church, like a furtive lizard clinging against a rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sunlight. There is no sunlight here though. There is only the night sky and the stars and the moon. Beneath the moon's light, silvery implement, the girl is clutching shimmers. It takes you a few moments to see what it is that the girl is clutching in her hands. It is not until you see her manipulate it, its sharp edge biting into the earth, that you understand. It is a shovel. Shovel! Jesus Christ. This girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard late at night, and she is digging a grave. Well, you suppose she could always be digging a hole for the sake of it, but her work seemed much too precise for this to be the result of mere whimsy. It is hard for you to see her face, given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the end of her shovel into the earth over and over. Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There is something hypnotic, almost in the manner in which she attends this task. Should you risk interrupting her? Should we? Should we risk interrupting this lady? Do you dare? You get the feeling that she would not appreciate it. The shovel in her hands, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. Cold anxiety makes your skin prickle. You do not know if you should risk speaking to her when she, in her dark cloak, with her shovel, looks so very strange. But what do you have left to lose? You have come this far. It would be folly to turn back now. It is with this thought in your mind that you decide to approach this strange girl. Your footsteps are quiet. You have grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quiet enough. The girl's senses must be finely tuned, because she blinks. Then she turns. Your eyes meet, and once they do, you feel your breath catch in your throat. You did not have a clear view of the girl before, concealed as you were in the shadows, but now she's looking at you, and you can tell that she is pretty. Her skin is very smooth and her hair, though obscured by a dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are clear, cool blue, black eyes. Those eyes of her which are large with unease and fringed with very long, fair eyelashes. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she's none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands looks solid enough, its pointed tip glittering wickedly in the moonlight. You still yourself, expecting perhaps some sort of outburst, but attention strains from the girl's slender shoulders. Her fingers, which once were gripping the handle of her shovel tightly, relax. Her lips curve upwards at edges. She is smiling, and what a smile it is. It is transformative. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic almost. Hers is a smile that is so suffused with lights that your eyes begin to prickle from it. You are so relieved, you almost feel as if you would cry. It would not be the first time you have wept during this night, and neither would it be too surprising if you did. You have been through a lot. You must be exhausted. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this, because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then she says, in a rough voice which does not match her dainty appearance, well, she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting? Oh, it's so good to see another person. I was afraid I was the only person left alive. The only one in the whole world. Now this is quite the Effie's first greeting. Jesus. Her introductory speech is riddled with exclamation marks. She's rather more personable than her apparel will make one suggest. You, a well-bred young lady, cannot help but feel overwhelmed. It is your turn now to be on your guard. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel, and you ask her what she means. What happened? You not know? There is an awful lot you do not know. So much, in fact, it would fill a whole encyclopedia. No, whole library. You shake your head, ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns. You mustn't be from around these parts. I guess I should have known. This village is a small one, and everybody knows everybody else. The girl's expression falls. At least they used to, back when there are still people to know. That ain't the case now, though. Not after the plague. There was a plague? That would certainly explain why the village, when you walked through it, was so quiet, that everybody else succumbed to this mysterious illness. That's right, it's just me here now. I've not seen another human being in a long, long time. It gets so lonely here. Title drop! Now this is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the girl takes a step toward you. Oh, but where are my manners? They must have gone rusty after being on my own for so long. My apologies, miss. You're lucky you've come a long way. You said you were a traveler, yes? And your hands are very gorgeous like ice. Ale myśmy nie powiedzieli, że jest. Huh? Would you like to come inside? Maybe have something warm to eat and to drink? My home's small, I'm afraid, and my food ain't nothing fancy, but you'd be more than willing to share. I'd be more willing. It's not every day another girl stops by, especially not one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed. The girl laughs, a carefree, airy sort of laugh which does not match your initial impression of her. You thought when you saw her among the graves that she would be more distant somehow and more mysterious. Ja uwielbiam, że ona powiedziała, że ona ma głęboki głos, który nie pasuje do tego, jak ona wygląda, po czym zaczęłam robić głos wyższy niż głos narratora. To nie było specjalnie. Naprawdę, to był przypadek. Perhaps you're mixing her up with somebody else. You are still unsure if you can trust this girl, but her invitation is an appealing one. It is much more appealing, certainly, than spending the night outdoors in the cold, keeping on the graves. What are you, a romantic poet? Please, you make a show. Show? Chow chow? A show of pondering the girl's invitation. At the very least, you do not want to appear too eager, but you...
Acquiescence.
Alas, an inevitability. Why would you ever refuse her? She is the first splendid face you have seen all night. Without her, you would be all alone. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home located but a stone's throw away from the church, built in the shadows of a twisted, towering sycamore. The guest home is in such a state it seems a folly to even call it a home. However would to you be the more appropriate descriptor, but when your hostess leads you inside, her eyes are alive, and she says, "Here we are, home sweet home." You don't have the heart to tell her that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That would be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. Dobra! Znaleźliśmy coś w stylu schronienia. Natknęliśmy się na innego człowieka i na razie jeszcze żyjemy. Nie wiemy na razie nic. Ale podejrzewam, że za niedługo dowiemy się czegokolwiek. Ja chciałabym wam podziękować. Przysięgam, ja umiem czytać. Po angielsku, no, akceptowalnie, ale ja ogólnie umiem czytać. Mimo że po tym, jak się jąkam i jak zmieniam słowa i jak pomijam słowa, może się wydawać, że jednak nie umiem czytać, to ja umiem czytać. I proszę mi nie wmawiać. No, dziękuję wam bardzo, że spędziliście ten czas ze mną w Get Some Lonely Here. Mam nadzieję, że wam się podobało i że słyszymy się następnym razem w następnym odcineczku. Pa, pa!